Hi everyone, it's Kute here. You know, so often working with clients from all walks of life, I often get asked, people say, Kute, there's this person in my life, there's this one person in my life, or there's these few people in my life, or maybe that person is your husband, your wife, your child, your mother-in-law, your parents, your father, someone at work, and they just drive me crazy. I love them. I mean, I really love them. I just don't like them. I love them. And I don't want to be around them, but I feel so bad because I should love them, right? Mother Teresa would, Gandhi would, and I just feel bad that I don't love them. And I hear often people say, if that person would just be different, if they would just change, how often have we said something like that? If that person would just be more 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 4,000 things, then it would be cool. If they would just be more, then it would be cool. But the reality is, they're not. That's the reality. They are not those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 4,000 things. They are what they are. Because in truth, if a terrorist was more like Gandhi, then he'd be cool. We'd like him, But he's not. She's not. One of the things that creates suffering in our relationships and in our friendships with people is we're constantly wanting someone to be what they're not. We're constantly wanting that person to be a version that we think they should be. Perhaps we see their potential and we see what they're capable of, and I just so see what they're capable of, and if they would just be a little bit more, you name it, then I could deal with them. But what creates suffering is the perception and the idea that we have inside of our minds as to how they should be. See, you often think that that particular person is creating suffering for you by being a certain way. What I'm proposing is that person has nothing to do with your suffering. I know that sounds like a radical statement, but I'll say it again. That person has nothing to do with your suffering. What creates your suffering is not that person. That person is just being what they are in this moment. What creates suffering is your relationship to that person inside of yourself. What creates suffering is your non-acceptance of where that person's at. What creates suffering is what you do with what that person is inside of your own being. What creates suffering is you and how you're perceiving that person and who and what they should be that they're not right now. You are creating the suffering. They're just being what they're being. You are creating the suffering. When we really own that, there's a shift that happens. When you really are willing to take that level of radical responsibility and not give your power away, because when you go into that, the perception of, I'm upset because of that person, I'm suffering or frustrated because that person, or if that person out there would only change, then, only then, I would be happy. But have you noticed how hard it is to change someone? I mean, Lord knows we've tried. We've tried. To change your husband, to change your wife, to change that person over there. Many of us can't even change ourselves. It's hard enough to change ourselves. How many times do we say, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to be more this way, I'm going to be more that way? And sure enough, we're just doing the same patterns of conditioning. We're running the same patterns over and over and over again. And that's you and I. That's ourselves. Let alone trying to change someone else to get them to be different. But when you're tied up, or your happiness is based on someone changing or someone being different, you give your power away. That there is a great power that comes when you take your power back and own that responsibility and accept who they are, accept where someone's at, and own the responsibility for your own internal experience. People don't make you unhappy. People don't make you frustrated. we make ourselves frustrated. And sometimes we're not even aware. Sometimes we don't even know. Sometimes it happens so fast. Sometimes it's so unconscious. But if we're to truly become empowered, we must become aware and we must take radical responsibility. That no one is doing it to you and no one out there has to change. What must change is how we deal and how we perceive what's out there. Are you ready? Are you ready? Part of that really is giving up being a victim. Giving up being a victim and thinking we're powerless, because what we do have power over is our perception and how we choose to respond. But there are so many people out there that indeed, I mean, it's true. Some of you might say, well, you know, there's people out there that really are, you know, jerks. There are people out there, yes, they are. But what creates suffering is often not just that they're jerks, is that we're constantly trying to change them. We're constantly showing up in their reality. We're constantly being around them, wanting to be different, and that's creating pain. They're just being what they are in this moment. A profound thing happens when you're willing to accept what people are and what people aren't. It frees you up to drop all your expectations of how you think they should be different, so that you can just be with where they're actually at. And when you're able to be with where someone is actually at, whether you like it or not, there's a space, there's a profound freedom. In fact, in my experience, it often opens up the space for a little compassion, for a little love. But here's the thing. I often tell people in my life, you know what? I have a perfect relationship with everyone. Now, my friends often say, or my clients often say, how is that possible? You have a perfect relationship with everyone. There's some crazy people out there. I literally have a perfect relationship with everyone. Everyone. The thing is, you want to know the secret? You ready? There's a secret. The thing is, there's just some people I will not be around. There's some people I choose not to be around. Not because I don't love them. It's just that where they are in their lives and the way they're expressing and being is either, you know, disrespectful or not honoring of where I'm at, or just doesn't work for me right now. And I love them. And here's the deal. They don't need to change. They don't need to be different in any way. They don't need to transform. They don't need to be anything other than where they're at. And in that profound level of acceptance, it will often free you up to just love them. But that might mean you don't have the idea of the relationship that you think you should have with them. We often have this idea of the relationship we think we should have with certain, my brother, my sister, people in our lives. We should have this kind of relationship. And sometimes we're actually unconsciously afraid of just accepting someone where they're truly at, because deep down we know and we feel if we really just accept this person where they're at, it may mean we actually don't have a relationship with them. And we might be attached to having a relationship with them and having it look a certain way, rather than just surrendering and saying to someone, I love you. I accept you where you're at. You don't need to change. I will love you. But we may not be able to interact on a daily basis in this particular way. Ultimately, that is you saying yes to yourself. And that is you honoring yourself. And it will free you up to have a perfect relationship with everyone. Loving doesn't necessarily mean everyone's in your life. Loving doesn't necessarily mean you put yourself, because I'm loving, I'm going to just be around people because I love them and they're abusive to me. Sometimes loving is fierce. Sometimes loving is intense. It depends what is necessary for the situation. But most of all, loving is honoring of another person and is honoring of yourself. So ask yourself in your relationships, who's in your life? Who are the friendships in your life? What impact are they having on you? And is that relationship, as much as you love them, as much as you care for them, is the relationship honoring them? And is that relationship honoring you? And if the relationship is honoring them and the relationship is honoring you, I encourage you to expand it and to continue. But feel most deeply, what expression, what form does this relationship need to take so that we're both empowered and we're both honored?